Right then, hello everyone. We are just going to spin through a little bit of an update for everyone on the win that we've had around Varian, a big global pharmaceutical founded after the Second World War. And it's a very exciting story, an AI ML story, and I want to make sure everyone's au fait with some of the bits of the background about why they've chosen Ness and why it's hopefully going to go from strength to strength. So this is something that Sujay won. Quick 30 seconds from me. He'd been pursuing them for a little bit of time. He came to learn about their appetite for massively upgrading their data science capabilities. Starting with streamlining lots of valuable data they had locked in silos, disconnected, labeled differently, all of that stuff that we see around and around is a common problem for some of these big companies, basically, behemoths. So Ashwin, let me turn to you first. You've been there since the start and I know very passionate about this story. Can you tell us how a meeting at a Ness organised event in the Q4 has turned into what we're up to today? How did it all come together?
Right. So it's all started with Sujay meeting the Chief Technology and Innovation Officer from Varian at a private dinner. And obviously that led to some references. Based on that, we could actually map the entire account and obviously help through the help of our BCI colleagues. That all series of references led to some series of pitches where one of the pitches, what we did was with one of the lines of businesses within Varian. And while they really liked the story, but they felt that our service is best suited for this particular business. And that's how we got introduced to our sponsor. And that led to a series of conversations and finally, us getting engaged with them.
Right. And as the story really gets going when we organise the kind of workshop, which sometimes we have to do to cut to the quick of what's a problem statement.
Right.
You were there. There was another data science specialist who rolled off the Bell Canada project.
Right.
And in a couple of days, you helped them kind of define the problem statement to work that we could help with that. So tell us about what happened in those 2 days.
Yeah, it was a very intense workshop, and we also we were preparing for it in advance, right? We were circulating notes and setting up the agenda. The 2-day workshop was essentially about, the first day was about, listening more to Varian rather than us talking. While we started off with some of the credentials, introducing the team, some of the competencies Ness has. And then very soon it went into a deep dive into some of the business requirements for Varian. They even scheduled a walkthrough of whatever work they had done till date. So that gave us a very clear insight, and we requested them to let us come back the next day with a proper solution in place. We had already got an insight into what some of the areas were, and we had drafted a sort of a plan in advance, a sprint breakdown plan for them to look at. And when we were able to talk through some of those detailed use cases and how we will address them from a technology point of view, it gave Varian a lot of confidence, and that led to.
That's a great story, but come on, it's about time we fessed up to what is this story, right? What is it about auto-controlling and outlining organs that you told me about?
Right. So if I were to talk about the business use case here, right, they are essentially addressing two markets here. One is obviously the European and North America markets, where it's a bit saturated for them right now. So they really want differentiating products which can position themselves as a market leader. And having AI incorporated products in medical imaging and medical equipment definitely helps build their case. Secondly is in developing economies, they want to push some of their products for a higher utilization. So what happens is some of the hospitals, they don't have many of these equipments, and it's practically shared between some of these hospitals. So they essentially want to drive higher utilization of their platforms. So with incorporating some of these AI technologies, they can actually cut down some of the processes which are actually adding to the overall latency in the scheme of things. A quick example is when a CT image is taken or an MRI is taken, there is a specific technician who does an outlining or contouring of images to help the doctor figure out what those organs are and probably detect any anomalies. Now, after this initiative, Varian will be able to automate that process where the medical image itself gets auto-contoured, and you essentially have eliminated the need for a technician and thereby reduced latency.
Right, and one other thing you told me, which I found interesting. So within these 2 days, we were across the table from the data science guy they'd hired, a smart guy who'd done something pretty impressive, right? He built a solution, and we had to convince him of our capabilities to kind of scale that out to become this solution that they can roll about the company, which is a kind of platform for them to build further machine learning capabilities upon, right?
Correct. So we were not talking to rookies here, right? Let's be clear here, because they had an in-house data science team. They already have 2 data scientists who have been doing quite a good amount of work, and they've been using all technologies. So to be able to tell them that how we can take them to the next level was the real key differentiating factor. And a lot of subject matter expertise was displayed by the team. We had help from Suma, who was our data science consultant. Shane was there in person. Sujay, myself, and even Dima pitched in at a certain point of time. So it all helped in adding up, building up our capabilities. Obviously, our past experience.
Ashwin, we'll pick you up a little bit. You worked on the IQVIA stuff with us, which was a close run thing where we did demonstrate machine learning capabilities, and you've done a lot of history on neural networks and financial systems.
Right. Yes. So so that added up, right? So we had a NES history in engaging in such an AI platform building initiative, and IQVIA became very close. We were a close second. Obviously, we lost out on pricing because what we realized, our competitor had an accelerator build up, which helped them discount some of the pricing. But more importantly, also, I have seen machine learning systems evolve, and I've personally worked on some of these machine learning systems, production grade machine learning systems in the financial space. And that helped driving some of the conversation.
Right. Ashwin, let's bring Shane into the conversation. So Shane, that 2-day workshop happened, and then turned it into a kind of MVP approach. And I think we're 2 or 3 months in. So how's it scaled into a couple of months on site? What are we doing, and where does it go next?
Yeah. No, I think so that 2-day workshop really, blossomed into this 2-month MVP, what we call 4 sprints. So we are pretty much, in the last sprint at this point of time, and as Ashwin said, we have taken what they've built, we've scaled it out, we added a lot of value, people are using it out there. So the next steps are, and we're just now in the next few weeks, we'll be talking to them and trying to get this into a longer term engagement, is what they call a production grade system. Right now it can be used definitely, but we want to make sure it's kind of bulletproof, it can be taken to their end customers. So that's going to be the goal over the next, 6 to 8 months, to make this into a system that can be taken out there. And they also want a portal. It's not just about the back end. There's also a UI aspect of it. So we're going to be getting a UX guys in to create a portal for them to make sure that, others can use this, use the data that we have, use the pipelines, everything that we have out here, which can be available to other customers as well.
And you mentioned this is a kind of platform that we're creating for them to use internally, spread around the world as they are, like a platform as a service. Potential, platform of machine learning capabilities that they could maybe use with some of their partners in their ecosystems. It could go in a few directions, maybe.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of, they have data, so there's a lot of scope to monetize it. So, and that's where the vision is. The good thing is they really like what we've done so far. They like the velocity. In fact, they've said that, the team is moving at a great speed. They want to work with us. They do look at us, they want us to be their AI partner right now in this journey ahead. So there are a lot of opportunities out there, and that's where we need to keep on just chugging along where we are right now.
Right. And let me wrap this up a little bit by mentioning Adrian, who's very much part of the team. I think he's on site in Palo Alto with them at the moment, right? So we've got thought leaders in Timisoara, Adrian, Gabriel, the 2 Radus. We've got Ashwin there, who's been very passionate, energetic, and expert in doing this. We've got a pretty amazing, confident story that we should take elsewhere that people can learn. And I love that concept of Varian thinking of us as their AI partner. That's a nice place for Nest to be, isn't it? So let's catch up in a couple of months and tell the team what's happening next, how we branch out on the account and see where it leads. So thanks very much for joining. We'll catch up soon.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Bye-bye.